Coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey, chopping it up from the Cabinet Creations Sports Desk. It is the TGC News with Jason Gomez and Dennis Gorman.
TGC, what's going on, guys? I just want to hold this thing one time.
Be careful, it's mine.
I actually did hold it before because I'm the one who picked it up. Funny story about it, actually. My buddy Jeff, he brought it back from the place, and this does it still come out? Did you? No, you
it comes out.
You didn't fix that part yet. A little super glue would be good. Listen, guys, Don, my co-host Don could not make it today, and I'm sorry about last week. We both had some personal things we had to take care of, but I figured Don being such a champion. Look, I took it. I'll leave it there for now. Don being such a champion for TGC last year with the Eagle Cup and this year filling in as the co-host, I thought what better way than to have someone to hold his spot for him than our defending champion, Dennis Gorman. Dennis, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for the invite.
And real quick, I apologize about the golf course, but yeah, some duct tape, maybe a little bit of super glue.
Gorilla glue. I'll put it back in. I'll get it in there.
And we'll be fine. Dennis, last week, big week, 3 weeks so far into the season right now. People are making moves. You're up there again as well, too. You're tied for fourth. I'm not sure if you have the tie break over Richie, I believe it was, for the show. But again, you find yourself in a position where you might be able to win the league again. And that's pretty cool. That's a great start. How do you feel this year as opposed to last year? Same kind of feelings as when you won last year?
I mean, it's and the second year playing it, it's a little bit easier. I know most of the guys, so I don't got to introduce myself to everybody. But I mean, just like last year, it's very easygoing. Nobody takes us too seriously. We're not playing for $1 million. But you make everything run smooth. Everything runs the way it's supposed to.
We try. I'll tell you, having with 40 people, it gets to be tough.
There's a lot of people this year.
40 people definitely gets to be tough. But I mean, listen, TGC is growing, and it is what it is. We have people still emailing us. Hey, listen, we want to be involved next year. Let us know when the next league happens here. Or we're getting subs now. The biggest issue we had. And obviously, you know this is with 40 people. We had a lot of our subs from last year sign up as players now, right? We had some other newcomers coming from everywhere else as well. So our sub list in the first couple of weeks, because again, bowling is still Sunday mornings too, so we lose a bunch of our guys until bowling ends as well. We had the holiday weekend this weekend as well too, but this is when it starts picking up and people start. I kind of feel like taking a little bit more serious. This is when kind of a couple of weeks into the season, people know the point system. Even the new guys, they kind of ask. They've already asked their questions about it. They kind of see where they are, middle of the pack. They know if they can make a run. They're kind of starting to watch who they're playing with and against. Whatever. This is when it starts to get a little bit more not serious because we don't want that at TGC, right? But it starts to seem like it's getting a little bit more. People's eyes are open now.
I think. A lot of the guys are done bowling or done doing what they have to per what came with the winter. And now everybody's more, set and focused on, being in the golf league. So that everybody, I think they seem really into it. Like I said, everybody's competitive, but they don't take it too seriously. But a lot of players, new faces, everything going good.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. There's still some mishaps, which we are going to get into right now. And unfortunately, last year it was kind of the same thing. Not as much as this year, but we also have more members this year, right? The no call, no shows. Yeah. It always seems to be a problem. It always seems to be where we have to kind of figure ourselves out. But now with more people there, we really have to make that effort to kind of make sure that we're not having 6 or 7 or 8 people missing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, TGC, we had a great start to the season again, but unfortunately, it's been a bugaboo for us for the last year, and now with 40 members, it's even more so. The no call, no shows. Unfortunately, things happen, right? I mean, like you were saying before, work happens, family comes into play, but the no call, no show for no other reason than that, though, it hurts us. We're getting prime time space for the golf course, and Greenwich has been extremely accommodating for us, but that can only go so far. Like we've had this week, I think we had 5 altogether, and we had 4 subs also, so 9 people there, but we knew about 5 of them, so it's okay. 2 of our guys got COVID on Wednesday. Let me know. That happens. That's okay. We're not talking about those. We're talking about the ones that just I'm not showing up today. We have to get rid of that. We have to find a way where, again, we're not doing this I'm not trying to find people. We're not at that point yet, but there has to be some way to get the commitment for where you don't have, I'm sorry, I just didn't wake up, or, I was too banged up. Because again, things happen, and this is not a number one priority for everybody, but the consideration, the courtesy that goes to the league, and probably more than anyone knows as far as what goes, as far as putting the product out there, what I do and what gets done for it on a weekly basis. So to have to shuffle around on a Sunday morning, it does get tiresome. It definitely can get tricky. So what do you think about that?
I mean, like I told you earlier, I mean, I rescheduled my Myrtle Beach vacation, so I didn't miss a week of golf. It's like any other thing you do. I mean, you're making a commitment to play, and the only person it's going to hurt if you no call no show is the golf course, and we don't want that to take a hit on our league where they say, well, you know, you can't have these tee times anymore because you have so many no shows. We're
That's the
losing
thing.
money.
This is prime time. This is prime time for us. We're teeing off from 7 to 9 o'clock every Sunday that we play. That's a big deal for the price that we're paying for the course. They're really taking care of us.
I mean, things come up, you know, emergencies, whatever. You know, but if it's something that you can avoid, you know, because you did make a commitment to golf, like instead of going out with your buddy, you stick with your commitment. You know, in my calendar, I have every other week I have golf. So anything I'm going to schedule or, you know, to do, I'm going to do around that. Just like my Myrtle Beach trip, I'm still going to go, but I'm not going to go on a week we're playing golf.
And listen, there are things that have kind of helped hurt also. Like we have guys who have done the right thing. Listen, I can't play this week if you can get a sub, and even some of those guys we couldn't get subs. Well, this weekend was tough, right? You have a holiday weekend, so if you're going away somewhere, obviously you're going away somewhere. But our sub list is actually growing. You brought a sub in. Bobby Sack played this week, right? I think his son is looking to play with us as well.
Yeah,
too.
he's going to play. He had something to do, but Bobby, you know, he came down. He came from Staten Island. He enjoyed it. We sat at the Roost afterwards. Shout out to them. He enjoyed it. He liked it. I had explained the whole point system to him, but he thought it was, you know, really a cool idea. And that's something that's never heard of that. He thought it was good. He liked it.
Well, as far as the format goes, I mean, we could touch a little bit on that. We spoke about it in the show before, but I mean, you're proof of that as well too. When you won last year, you got hot in the right time, and I played with you a couple of times. I was in a show with you 2 or 3 times as well. And actually, one of those rounds I shot my 77 was with you. We were, and I didn't even realize till the end what the score was. We were just having a good time, and we were talking and drinking.
Your lucky rabbit's foot.
There you go. Exactly. But I remember playing with you, and a lot of those matches were close matches. You just got hot, or you made the putt when you had to, or you kind of you found that hole to catch up again, or to hold the lead you had. So I mean, really, anyone could have won the year you won. It was very, very close going to the end. You just made more putts at the end, maybe, or
I mean, honestly, I think everything that you created is around the golfer like me. You're not good. You're not too terrible. I came in here shooting 120s. And after playing a lot with you, I try to get better now.
You got consistent. You got better. Now all of a sudden, those 105s are hard to beat. And that's the thing. So it's just like a bowling league, right? Just if someone comes in with a 160 average and they get to 190, like it's hard to beat that person.
Exactly.
Similar to this. So Gin is not fixing because it's not a problem. What it is, as far as having those handicap guys moving around for, but now with Gin, everyone's going to have more of a concrete handicap, right? Going forward. There were a couple of times in the beginning season too. You didn't play the inaugural season. You were wearing the shirt for the inaugural season. You didn't play the inaugural season though. Richie Funk, the first week, he shot a 94, and unfortunately he killed himself. We had nothing else to base the handicaps on, so we did off of that. So he never could get himself in a position to compete again. So we knew after the first year we had to do something about that. So then we started averaging out 5. We did the last year we did 5 rounds where we dropped your highest round. So it gave you a little bit of a better feel for it. Now this year we're going straight Gin, and next year now everyone's going to have at least 10 rounds in there. We're only using Gin. We're not using anything else. We'll probably figure something out as far as subs go, but for the actual members, though, if you don't have a Gin, you're not going to be playing as far as TGC goes.
I agree. It's a good idea.
And it makes sense too for the other stuff we do as well with the Eagle Cup. We're going to use off of the Gins. Any other tournament, we have a couple of tournaments that we're talking about right now. We might do a doubles, best ball doubles tournament. We may do a singles tournament. We're playing with dates as far as the fall season. We're not sure if we're going to do a 5-week fall season or if we're going to do maybe 3 tournaments and have the Eagle Cup one of those weeks. Because you were in the Eagle Cup last year. It was freezing. It was a great concept as far as Veterans Day weekend, right? Like it made sense doing it then, but it was just too cold. I mean, after daylight savings time, golf gets a little bit finicky.
No, the Eagle Cup was awesome. It's inspired my dad. I showed him the video that you made about the Eagle Cup. He loved it.
Yeah. That was a really cool video. And now because of Don, we're in talks right now. And we're a little further than talks about having a flyover as well too. I was actually with the Lieutenant Colonel last week. They had the car wash. I think I posted that as well. And I was with them for a little bit. We were talking. And he can't wait to get together. He's getting the list of the candidates now for the scholarship already together. We'll go over them. He'll figure out that. And then we get to kind of interview them a little bit and read their essays that they write back. It was the coolest thing. It was the coolest thing I've done that didn't involve like family or anything. Like it's something like.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than having to announce your name.
Oh,
and Jeff Martin, sorry, buddy. He would know. I have him on the TikTok that I did of him.
That first tee shot was that was tough.
You have to announce your name like you're in a pro league, and then you go in front of 60 people, hit a ball.
How was your first shot? Mine was bad too. I was a Jeff. I did a Jeff Martin on my first shot. I played well after, but the first shot wasn't
Jeff
good.
Martin went
Well, it wasn't.
feet.
I wasn't as Jeff Martin as Jeff Martin. I was.
You were behind me. I went in the woods about 160 out.
Oh, but your ball got in the air though.
It went in the air. Though.
I had a stinger. I had a not a good stinger either. I had a bad stinger. I might have got maybe 80 yards out of my tee shot. I think I saved par the first hole too. But yeah, it was just too cold for that. But in any case, guys. So yeah, again, the no call, no shows, no shows. We understand how they happen, but please, we have to try to keep them to as little as possible. I know bowling's over now, which is a huge help for us. Last weekend, I get it the holiday weekend, and that's a tough thing as it is anyway. But going forward, though, let's try to work on that and keep it there. I never want to have that negative conversation with Cream, as far as, listen, guys, we have you for 40 spots right now, 36, 32. We can give those 2 tee times away at premium price. So guys, please try to work with me on that. Next, let's talk about some good stuff. The low handicap of the week. This whole family, I feel like, is going crazy right now. You have the 2 sons that were in the show this week.
Talking about the Funks.
Talking about the Funks. You had Uncle Tommy, whose family as well too. Uncle Tommy's an in-law to Richie. He won the best handicap round last week, I believe. I think it was his first 80 round. And now best handicap round, Papa Funk, a 96. Now 96, people might, that's okay. But the guy's like a 30 handicap. That's a big score. That's a big deal for him.
Hard to beat that.
96. He was actually negative 6.7 with his handicap. 96, Papa Funk, you win 20 credits. Great job, buddy. Great round. He must have won, right? Who did he play with? He was with Papa Funk. Who was he with this week?
I played with Tommy.
Papa Funk was with Venosa, Mikey Petrula, and Garel, and he must have won that round, right? He could have lost that round. Yep, he won. Mikey second, Venosa third, Garel fourth. So Papa Funk now is moving up in the rankings. So let's see here. Off of him. Perfect. So Papa Funk, another one. They really are keeping it all in the family with that. Now, fantasy, I actually pulled one off.
Well, there's a reason.
What's the reason?
Well, I was not valid. I put my pick.
Well, it's not a valid pick, though. And this is a good conversation to talk to. The guys understand as far as how the fantasy goes. So tell them that your reason why you didn't win the fantasy. I'll tell them why
I didn't win is because one of the guys that I picked was a no-show. Or he called for a sub. He did have a sub come in, but he wasn't there. I didn't.
Now, this is when it gets funny, and this is why it can't be anyone else's fault but your own fault. Who played it in the foursome with the guy you picked that wasn't there?
The guy that I picked in the fantasy was in my group. And, yeah, it was, yeah. So when I came to you today and I talked to you about it, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty stupid. I'm like, I should have known that. Like,
you know what? In our group too, we actually someone was asking a question about the fantasy too. What happens if you pick someone who's not playing or you're not sure if he's not there? And I said, well, for the most part, you kind of you know for the night before, because there's always a post as far as who's playing what subs. I have a sub list that goes out there. These are guys looking for subs still or not. So for the most part, you still get those stragglers like Poli. I think he was picked actually with someone else, and they changed it for him because Poli, he's a high handicap guy. Mm-hmm. He's a low dollar amount guy. Right, but he can shoot a 110 with not 105 that can help you score out. So he was picked, but they checked it and they changed it out there for it. But you actually played with the guy that you'd picked that wasn't there.
Yeah, it's
so how it's been working, guys, and it's happened so far. We've had, I think, 2 picks where guys have picked guys who weren't there, and we refund the credits back. And I refunded Dennis credits back as well before I realized that he was playing with the guys. So maybe we shouldn't refund the credits, but we did anyway. So we'll leave it as that. So we have fantasy. We have one more prize that we give out every week as well too. But this week was a little bit weird. The closest to the pin. Did you hear about the closest to the pin?
Yeah,
did you hear about the story?
I was the second tee time.
Were you there for this when it happened, or did you see anything that was happening?
The group, the first group, went out, and so we obviously hit after them. And we get to the green, and there's normally a board with a measuring tape, so you can measure the distance from the hole, and there's nothing there. So we're thinking, we don't know what to think. We're just like, what's going on? Are we not doing it? So I don't think anybody had an idea what was going on until I talked to Andrew at the Roost at the bar afterwards, and he was not a happy camper about it. And I don't blame him. I mean, it's kind of somebody apparently not in our group picked up what's not theirs and took it.
Yeah.
So we couldn't keep track.
So for guys who don't understand what he's saying is that not our group, but Richie, when he first gets here, he kind of sets everyone up, makes sure everyone's going out for the early groups, and he goes and he drops off to the 17th hole, the board and the measuring tape. He did it like he always does. Some group that played before us actually picked it up and brought it back into the clubhouse, and they told the girl that they think they won a car. Moron. This is what happened. Don't laugh, David. This is what. So anybody who was close on that hole, I apologize for the inconvenience, but I don't want to say the guy's name. Richie knows the guy. I'm not gonna say his name and make him YouTube famous with the 50 subscribers that we have. But yeah, so the guy picked it up and the guy left with it. So what we're gonna do is
took the board with him.
The board with him too.
Like home?
No, he gave it back.
Oh.
He actually went back into the pro shop and said, "Listen, I think I won a car. Who do I have to give this to?" Something along those lines. Right? So the guy was a wise and whatever. But in any case, what we're going to do going forward, that the first group is going to bring it out. They'll leave it there, and the last group will take it after that.
Makes sense.
Right. So we'll kind of fix that problem. But it's a problem that you don't think you're going to have on a golf course, being a gentleman's game. But unfortunately, for this day, it wasn't so much. So that was that. Closest to the hole. I'm sorry, guys. No one was there for that. But it did happen. Let's go over some of the foursomes, some of the matches here. Let's see. Let's see what we got. We got a couple good matches. We had the Funk Brothers were in the show this week. Richie actually shot a 94. He just he told me he lost by a little bit. I'm looking at it first time. He lost by 0.24 to a new guy Clark.
Ugh.
First time in the league. He actually was a late register also, and he's leading after 3 weeks right now. He's in first place. Everyone's chasing him. Andrew shot a 91. He's been shooting the low 80s right now.
Doing good.
He came in fourth with a 91. The problem with Andrew is that, there's not a problem with him, but he's been playing so good and he's been playing at a higher level that a 91 is probably an average to below average round for him. He came in fourth place. So it's tough to keep that consistency. You know what I mean? Like even look at last year, Frankie, a super sub. He was winning every week, but he was shooting 82 to do it. The 1 week he shot 89, he lost. He didn't understand what was going on. So unfortunately, the better you're playing, you have to kind of keep that level. And you got better when you won the league last year.
It's also not the scores. It's there's a huge difference whether you win or not for the day. Whether that one hole where you had a 7 and the guy had you came in fourth on that hole because you had a 7 and the other guys had a 6. That's why you can't give up on the holes, because there can always be somebody shooting worse than you at that moment. You got to play it through and win the hole.
And that's the thing. As long as you're not losing holes, like coming in last in those holes, getting the 1 point there, if you can find a way to backdoor second or third for a hole, those points are the ones that add up. Do you have a strategy when you play? Like, let's say you're playing with 3 team handicap golfers. The guys shoot 80s, low 90s all the time. Do you have a strategy going into that? I just want to find 2 holes to win.
I think the guys I played with this week, Tommy, he's around the same handicap as me, around a 23, and we played with 12 handicappers. And in my mind going out, basically all I got to do is win a couple holes and try to stay in second on the holes as much as possible. I do that. It's hard to beat me or Tommy with that type of handicap. And it shows because Tommy beat me, I think, by 1.3 or something like that. It came down to the last hole.
Yeah, I have you here. Actually. Yeah, you were very, very close. Yeah, Uncle Tommy 62.3, you was 60.98. So I mean, really 2 points. So that's just a matter of you beating him 1 hole or like coming in third, not fourth. You know what I mean? Like it's really that kind of a difference for it.
You can't give up. I mean, even if you're, you got a 6 going, into your last putt, you want to try and make it because that guy might shoot an 8. And third is better than fourth, obviously.
Yeah. In my group, the same thing kind of happened. Going into I think the 14th hole, I play with Val, I play with Edwin and Tommy Fumey, and at one point going to the 14th hole, 3 of us were split by less than a point. So now it's just like any putt you make, and Val got hot. Val actually made a run. We were always kind of right there, but he got hot at the end, and it came down to the last hole. I was up like 0.8 on him. So whoever wins the hole, me or him, whoever is going to win the match. And he hits on the par 5. That's really a 4, the 18th hole, which they moved it in. Some guys liked it. Some guys don't. No. Did you like it where it was? Or
no.
You prefer
where they moved that on the 18th hole, where they moved the tees. I was like the tee box is. I mean, like I said, the last hole came down is who's going to win that last hole. We were all within a point of each other, and hitting over that water, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, no, it's a scary shot.
You may not hit a driver or whatever. I think I didn't like that. I don't know if they were doing maintenance on it, but
That happened last year too. We had that a couple
there
of
was
weeks in a
one
row.
time.
I remember
it was
it-
towards the end they did it. I don't like that.
My guess is when it rains, it's probably tough to get money back there because when you're leaving the car to walk over there, it's a lot of trees and stuff. My guess is it's probably like a lot of shade there, and it's just when it gets unplayable like that, they probably give
Yeah,
it
I
$2
mean,
or something.
I get it. I mean, just
That's my guess. I didn't ask him about that, but I do know last year too. I think I remember seeing it twice up there. I mean, obviously it's not a par 5. We play as a par 5 for our score because I don't change the number as we're playing. But at 360, I think it was, right? It's a par 4 at that
Yeah,
point, maybe even less than
was-
that. It was, yeah. I had a drive, a decent drive, a good drive, and I was like 90 away. So about 230, 240 probably played.
I nailed it in the water,
340.
180 out, and Tommy took it in.
Yeah, and actually Val went over the tree and he was in fantastic shape. And then he hit whatever wedge it was, but he bounced over the green. I was able to lay up. Actually, I was like 95 away. I hit a soft sand wedge short, and then I was able to go get up and down. So
And like I told you, the greens were really slow.
yeah, compared to the way it normally is. And I know the rain makes it's what it was. Obviously, it rained a lot before that, which is amazing. The course even holds the water it is. Like it's
Oh,
no
yeah,
car
good
path
drainage.
only. There wasn't even really 90 degrees, even though we're supposed to be showing etiquette and doing the 90 degrees, guys. Please, 90 degrees whenever you can. Don't drive on the fairway. But it was immaculate. I thought the fairways were in great shape.
Oh, everything is. I mean, they do a good job there. I mean, you never see really any puddles there. I mean, it just rained the day before. A good amount of rain.
rain. Yeah, no, it wasn't like a passing storm. It get rain.
No, it rained a good amount, and just the greens are normally lightning fast there, but
Even
not this week.
last week too, when I played in that members tournament there, it poured that day, and an hour later we're back on the course, and like it's like nothing happened. It was,
Oh, you show me the pictures?
yeah, it was amazing, like how bad it was coming down and how long it came down to really, and even an hour later being able to play golf. And the next day we played in the league, and it was 2 weeks ago, I guess, and it was fine. Like it's amazing how well
they do a
that
good
place
job there.
that place holds water. So we had some close matches. Yeah, ours came down to the wire for it. We have who else won? Chris Delfini won. He's moving up. Rick, the new member Rick, he edged off Jason Testa. He won his group. Uncle Tommy won his group. We know about Mr. Clark. He won his group. Steve, how do you say his last name? Dracalis?
Just call him Steve.
Well, you can, Steve. Just Steve won. Just Steve beat Jeff Martin by 0.38. That was a close match too. And how did they end? The last hole, Jeff went 8, Steve went 6, and Steve backdoored him. He tied for first. Jeff got,
What'd Jeff shoot?
Jeff shot a 94 with a triple on the last hole. And that's last place for the last hole. And that cost him easily 2-3 points. And there you go. So Steve backdoored that. We got here Stevie Margot won his group. Papa Funk won his, also lowest score. And we have Frankie Lehman won his group. We got Frankie actually from Chop Sports. He was talking about golf and someone else heard something and tagged me into the thing. And before you know, we have another member.
Nice.
Great guy too. A lot of have you spoken to a lot of the new guys? I know there's probably about 10 or 12 new guys from last year.
Yeah, I mean, in the like that the first week we had that delay.
Yeah.
So I was talking to a lot of the new guys, and they were asking me, or one or two of the guys asking me about the point system. But yeah, no matter who you bring into this league, everybody's really cool.
Yeah, so we haven't had that. I mean, the first year you weren't there, but there was a little bit of something that we corrected and it was taken care of. But from last year was a great. Everyone who joined, they were all great to be around.
You know,
they were all a lot
everybody's
of fun.
being competitive, but they're not. We're not playing for
That's the thing.
big
Yeah,
prize.
you're not playing for anything more. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's cool to have one of these. I had 2 chances at this, and I'm still 0 for 2 on these. But this is cool to have, right? But yeah, we're not playing for anything more than maybe like a driver or a Scotty Cameron putter or something.
That's what I won last year, and I
What'd you win last year? What was your gift?
The driver.
You got the driver?
Cleveland, I think it was right.
The Maverick, maybe.
Maverick.
The Maverick, right?
I gave it to my dad. He loves it because I just bought a ping, so but I don't even use the driver anymore.
Yeah, I think the driver. Well, no, the Scotty Cameron might have been the most expensive gift we have, but the drivers are up there too. Those things go. The M2 even too. The first year I think we had an M2 driver, M3, whatever it was. But yeah, so those are the rounds. Not bad. Scores are still ranging the way they've always been ranging right now. Low score was, let's pull up here. Low for the week, we have Chris Delfini with an 85. Steve Saldano, he's a new member as well. 87, 84, 86. This guy is extremely consistent. Have you played with Steve yet? Oh no. Saldano, okay. Another new member. I'm up there with an 87. That's cool. Rick Madison, new member, who's I think he's in the show now. 89.
Clark's a new member.
Clarkson.
So I played with him last week,
yeah.
and he almost, like I said, with the handicap, he's getting around the same as me, 23, 24, and he had like a 44 in the front nine, and it's just like, no way you're beating that. And he was a good guy, but like I said, everybody's great. The new guys and you get old members, but everybody's cool.
Yeah, Brian, and he's doing good too. So far, he shot 98, 98, 94. He's won all 3 weeks, which is why he's in first place. No one else has won all 3 weeks, right? That's the only guy who's undefeated so far. We had a couple guys. Andrew was undefeated until this week. He's the only, obviously he's in first place. He's the only guy. But yeah, a couple other 90s. Rick, John Venosa got into the 90s finally. He actually stayed 2 weeks. I don't know if you were there hanging out after. Oh, you were there, right? He was there chipping and putting for an hour afterwards.
I think longer than that. 'Cause me and Andrew were drinking lots of water at Roost beverages.
Pete 90, Andrew 91 with Churdom. Yeah, a whole bunch of 90s scores.
What Toronto shoot?
Pete shot a 90 on the button.
90.
And he got 10 points this week. No one was over 115. This is the first time we've had no one over 115.
That's good.
Yeah, the scores are definitely getting. You know what? I mean, the guys who the 110. I mean, you were a 110 golfer, 115 golfer last year, and you improved as the year went on. Though, were you practicing, or just like the once every 2 weeks that was enough for you to get better because you were kind of into?
I averaged in the 120s or high one teens, and I would only play once a year. I'd go to Myrtle Beach. I play. You guys invited me to the league, so I'm playing more every other week. But then I'm going to the range twice per week, and now I'm pretty much averaging in the mid 90s, high 90s. And there's still, I mean, I could easily break 80 if I really, put more effort into it. But it's
last year playing with you, I can tell you that your ball striking was good. The scoring clubs are chipping and putting, and that's really everyone's problem, right? If you're chipping and putting, the short game is where from 80 and in or 60 and in is really where you really start scoring. Like the good guys get up and down from everywhere, right? Guys like us, so we're getting on 2 putting, maybe if we're on. So a lot of our strokes are lost around the green. But I do remember from last year, like, yeah, your ball striking was fantastic, and I was a little annoyed because like this guy, I'm giving him 10 points right now, and this guy's not missing any shots. Only when you're giving 10 points to somebody, you see them kind of flying the ball around. But you were
well, you had your payback with a 77.
Well, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah. That was the first time I was ever actually even par going through 9. So that was pretty cool. Last year, when you won the title, the last week got rained out, right? That was the last week. Going into the last couple of weeks, though, did you feel? I mean, obviously, the format and how it works. Did you feel like you had a good shot? Or did you feel like the scratch guys? Because so far, 2 of our winners have been 2 of our lowest handicap golfers, besides yourself. So did I ever come into play?
I knew who I was going to come against. I know Deemer was in it. Deemer was up there. I mean, Deemer came out of nowhere, and he went. Bob just came right to the top.
He always does.
And
only 2-time champ.
I won't lie. He actually intimidated me. I told him about this. I thought because I always looked at him. He's like really serious, and I was like, I'm not going to talk to Deemer. He looks. But I actually played with him one time, and awesome. He's really cool. He's not what I thought, and he actually laughed about it. And I told him, I was like, I thought you were like too serious, like, with a golfer, but he was a cool guy.
He's fiery, but he's a great guy. I've known Pete for a long time. He's always been a great guy.
He actually,
good bowler too. I think everyone in the league is a good bowler. Yeah, he's a bowler. He actually was a one-handed bowler that turned to 2 hands and I think he threw it better with 2 hands than he did with 1 hand. He was a good bowler. Yeah.
He actually came to me when I was wearing my, cause me, I like to dress weird, orange, yellow, whatever I can wear. But he had some tees which matched my outfit. So Deemer brought him over here like these neon green tees. So
there was something that we were speaking about before the show, and I want to bring it up too. A couple of rules that came to my attention. Now, what we do in TGC, and this because you and I do talk a lot about this kind of stuff. The goal is to keep the round moving. This week, unfortunately, I was in the last group, and it took a little over 4.5 hours to finish the round, probably around 4:40. That's a lot. I don't know the earlier groups and what the issue was as far as keeping on top. And maybe we were following, maybe even the groups before us were holding up. I'm not exactly sure, but I can tell you this is the longest round that I've played so far with TGC.
How long was it?
I was like 4:40.
We had a longer round than that a couple weeks ago, I think.
Did you?
I think it was like 5.5 hours.
No, it definitely wasn't 5.5 hours.
It was
No,
long.
you might have been there.
This-
you were at Creamage 5.5 hours, but I promise you,
This
no
week,
one.
we
5.5 hours, and I get a phone call and like, listen, there's a problem. 5.5 hours.
This week we were out in like 4.5, and actually
4.5,
everybody thought it
probably.
was pretty quick. I mean, we were the second tee time, but there was a group ahead of them. You know,
So you were the second tee time out this week. So
Yeah.
well, you didn't play with Chuck then. He was the first tee time out, maybe.
No, yeah.
He was home in 5.5 hours. So I know that his round wasn't that bad. I guess you guys were kind of the same
We
thing.
were pretty quick.
The front was fine. The back, it wasn't like a bottleneck, but every tee shot we were waiting maybe a minute for. It wasn't the end of the world for it, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, but
That was
so
about
it kind of got to that point. At the end of it, it got a little more, but the front nine, I didn't feel it was that bad. I think we were done in like a little 220-ish, whatever.
Well, I
maybe
do know in the back
215.
nine around the 16th or the 17th, obviously the group behind us was always like waiting on us for about 1 minute. Then all of a sudden we lost them. You know, I would look like they're nowhere near us. So I don't know if something happened with, because everybody said we did a pretty quick round. So
That's the thing. I mean, as long as you're staying with the people in front of you, then and everything's fine. Like, you can only do that. Like if they're on the green and you're teeing off, then that's good. You know what I mean? If you're on the green and they're teeing off the next hole, that's good. Stay with the group in front of you. If you can, if everyone does that, then the round is going to go fine. But the reason why I said that is that it brings me to as far as rules go. Every rule that we make in TGC is made for that, to keep the round flowing. It's not
play.
Pace of play is the biggest thing. That's why we have the double par rule. That's why we had this year too, which I'm going to talk about. The when you go out of bounds, you're hitting 4 from the fairway. You're not hitting 3 and punching out from that, just for the sake of speeding the round up. Now, I know that there was an incident today, so I want to clarify going forward, because it actually happened before. We tried to implement the 4 from the fairway last year. It just didn't take. So half the guys weren't doing it, so I never really pushed it. This year, I really want to push it more and more. But I know that there was a tee shot that somebody, maybe not even 10 yards into the
Well, this was actually my group, and it wasn't an incident. It was just like, I personally, I think everybody wants to know what the rules are.
You guys want clarity
no
as far
animosity.
as exactly, and that's what I want to. Of course.
And whatever, I'll mention names. Tommy. I'm sorry to say this, he hit a nice driver about 20 feet into out of bounds. I felt bad. I was like, Tommy, I'm sorry. You got to hit 4 from there. And someone else said, I don't know about that.
Doesn't make
Let's
sense,
hit
right?
it from the tee box. And I agree, being that close, you should
Well,
re-tee it up. So
just to clarify for it, going forward with this, because again, the 4 from the fairway, it's our rule that we do to keep the round going. If somebody hits a ball out of bounds right there and they're on a tee box, hit 3
You're
from
right
the tee.
there
Yeah, keep
already.
it going. Hit 3 from the tee for that. We're even gonna. Well, I'm gonna edit the rules in our actual rule book for it. If you're on the tee box, you can make a decision there before you leave the tee box. If you want to hit 3 from the tee at that point, hit 3 from tee from
I
that
agree.
point. Otherwise, you're gonna hit from the fairway wherever the ball went into the woods. I think it makes the
if you
most
get in your
sense.
car and you start heading to your ball,
Right.
and you thought it went in, well, then you hit 4, but you
Right.
don't drive back to the tee box.
Exactly. You're not going to go there, look for your ball. If you
Yep.
don't find it, come back to the tee box. That's the last thing that we're going to do. But while you're on the tee box, the ball went obviously left or whatever it was
Yeah.
for that point. Stay on the tee box, hit your ball. You're not going to hit a 5 iron from 5 feet in front of that. You're not going to punch out with it.
I agree.
You're going to
100%.
drive from that. It makes the most sense, right? So a lot of our rules are just common sense rules. I'm sure that they're not lined up. Even a double par is not lined up with what real golf obviously does.
No.
But if you're on a par 3, hit 2 in the water, we don't want that guy hitting 14 on that just to get his score properly correct. We want the guy to keep playing golf, to keep the round moving. That's why we do the double pars. I think it makes sense too.
It does.
Right. So as far as the rules go, guys, I want to clear that up for everybody who's watching. If you're on the tee box here, it's more common. Everything we do is common sense. Even from if you hit a ball into, there's no out of bounds, there's trees over there. Everybody saw the ball bounce. Don't spend 5 minutes looking for that ball. Talk to your partner. Listen, I'm going to drop here behind the tree. No penalty. I'm not giving myself a lie on the fairway, but I'm going to drop from where we both saw the ball should have been right now. Keep the round going. Don't take a penalty. You can't give yourself 114 yards in from the fairway. But obviously, if you're taking a drop behind a tree to punch out there, the idea of this, again, is to keep the
The other
round
question
moving.
I want to ask you as far as the rules, first hole, the white stakes.
Yes.
You have that, from what I remember, is unplayable. 'Cause
Yes.
I actually hit one over there,
Yes.
and it wasn't far over,
Mhm.
but mine was actually good because I was right up against a tree.
Yes.
So I pulled it out. Now, I know you mentioned bringing it into the fairway. I didn't, just because I don't think that's fair to the other people I'm playing with. I put it right past up club length
It's not the
past
fairway.
stakes.
Yeah, it's not the fairway for that. It isn't unplayable. They don't want us hitting behind that building, right?
Okay.
So the ball goes out there. You go in one club length into the rough of where the ball went into that, and that's
So,
where you're hitting your second shot
just-
from. No penalty, but your second shot is from
Just
there.
so we're clear, them white stakes. If it goes past the white stakes,
The white stakes only on the first hole.
yes.
On the first hole,
Okay.
the white stake. If you hit
Because
the
the
ball
white
left
stakes
on
are
this, yes.
prior to the building. Actually, you can hit it just over the white stakes.
Yes.
Just to make sure the rules are.
Well, I believe the white stakes go further in the building anyway, but after the building is the problem. So anything like the second shot, if it goes past the building to the left, the same rule doesn't apply. It's only for the tee shot to the left in front of the building. But if you do go into there, you're going to go out from where you entered, one club length from that spot from the rough. And there is no penalty for that. And that's probably going to be a crimmage for a while until they figure out what they want to do with that building, I guess. But for the meantime, they don't want anyone hitting at the building anymore. So yes, for everyone there,
Makes sense.
That's how we're going to play with the white stakes. Only on the first tee, on the first hole, and that's it for that. Guys, we have some orders. They're starting to trickle in right now. Keep an eye on the TGC store, guys. If you have credits, if you win a side skis or a fantasy, use your credits. Support everything that we make from the store. It does not go in my pocket. It goes into the league for other things that we're trying to do with cameras and the websites and the podcast stuff. Everything that we're doing right now is going to be funded from these kind of ventures for us. So support it. You guys, we have rangefinders, we have bowls, we have coolers, we have clothes, we have we have the one of the reps from Encore is going to be on the show either next week or the week after. We have another rep that reached out that's going to be on the show from Tech for the rangefinders. We have a couple special guests coming up from the show right now, so it is going to be pretty cool. They're going to be calling in from. It's going to have that kind of live sport feeling. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, guys, watches, range bags, you name it, we have it there. And if you know of something that you would like to see in the store, let me know. Let's say that you picked up a nice speaker. Hey, Jay, these speakers are great. Let me know. Let me see if I can get some kind of a wholesale deal with these guys to offer them to you guys. But definitely support the store. Everything that we make, it goes right back into the league. Nothing, if anyone who knows me knows, it's not going into my pocket. It all goes back into the league. So definitely, guys, support the store. Take a look. We do have some specials. We are going to do something with members as well, too, where members get a 10% off on selected items, and that can be for bowls and for rangefinders. There's also a special going on right now for the Tech rangefinder and the watch. It's going for, I think it was $250 right now, which is like a $330 value. So you're saving $80 there as well. So definitely keep an eye on that stuff. Keep checking it out. Dennis, you actually reach out a lot, especially during the season and in season, as far as the app and what's going. Hey, Jay, maybe try this, whatever. What do you think of the app right now, and what do you think we can still do to make it better?
I mean, the app is great. You can see everybody's live scores. I can see my live score, our group, who's winning. You don't got to do the, wait to the end to do the math. Everything comes up automatically. I think there are a few little things that could be tweaked. Nothing major. I think my biggest thing is to make it easier to enter the scores.
Mm-hmm.
Like, instead of going into each name, enter the score, exit out, go to the next person.
They have each foursome, like you click on the foursome, it all comes up for.
Just have them all on the same page so you can enter everybody's score on one screen. Number one, it'll save the battery life of my phone because that's almost dying. I've done the scores twice already. I'm going to bring a battery pack with me.
Yeah. But I kind of feel like the guys are getting used to it, though. But you're right, though. That seems, even when I tried the first time, like the most tedious part of it. You have to enter, click done, go back, enter, click done.
And there's more room for error when you've got to keep going in and out of the each person.
I think that makes sense. I think actually, if we had it where, I mean, we can have a separate tab where it is now, where it shows you the tee times and the cutoff and that, and even the points. But as far as like maybe every group, every tee time.
Yeah.
And you click on your group and opens up 4 people, and you can edit all 4 people at the same time. That's something we're definitely going to look at for it. Dennis, any final thoughts? We're going to cut this show pretty, not really short, actually. We're going till 40 minutes up right now. But any last thoughts for the people at home as a defending champion? Where are you right now? Actually, where's your position? You are.
Can't be doing that. Terrible.
Hold on, I think I actually had you up here.
Came in first and then second twice.
Let's see where we are here. Hold on. We are in standings. Dennis, total points. Gorman, you are at 35 points. Oh, you're up there right now. You're tied for 4th.
That works.
I'm not sure if you're in the show or not. You or Richie are tied right now with 35 points. But why? You still do?
No, I'm doing Doing okay.
We have one two-time champion in Pete Dima. He won the inaugural spring season. He won last fall, and you might be making a run for that as well. Question: if you were in the last week of the season, if you're in the show, would you rather see 3 handicap golfers or 3 of our lower handicap golfers? Would you rather
3 lower.
3 lower? You rather have the 390 golfers, not the 3
I think I have a better shot at the lower handicap guys, point system wise, to beat them than I do. Good example. Me and Uncle Tommy it's weird calling him uncle, but that's what he calls him. We were neck and neck. It's just like we got the same handicap. So me and him are basically playing hole to hole. Meanwhile, the other guys, we already have like a 12-point lead on them, going into the back 9, whatever it is. So they're kind of, not to be mean, but they're kind of in their rear.
Right.
So Tommy's the only one
I was
worried about.
chasing you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I had one round in the beginning where I was playing against 3 high handicap guys, and I felt like it was tough to catch them all because someone's coming in second. You know what I mean? So I actually wound up coming in second for that round. I remember it too, and it was close for first place. But it was weird because you have to win holes. So you know what I mean? So you have to find those pars and those bogeys. You can't have those blow up holes because if you're coming in last, one of them are going to come in first. It's really tough to catch them. You know what I mean? So I actually I don't know what I shot the round. I'm sure it was a decent round for it though. But I remember coming in second, but that was rough because again, every single hole you have to be there. You can't come in last place for one of those holes.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of. I mean, I'm gonna have Pete Deemer on the show one day too, and because he was our lowest handicap golfer forever. Like, does he ever feel like I'm 10 points out, 5 holes to go, like I got a shot at this, or is it more like just I have to win every hole?
Me and Deemer talked actually the time we played, and had something to do with my handicap. Not how it was hard for him to catch me because I'm playing decent. He's obviously way better than me, but he's having a hard time catching me points wise because of my handicap. And even though he's a much better golfer, with the point system, it kind of balances it out, which is why somebody averaging last year a 116 can win the league. I think that's what the league is.
That's the beauty of the league, though. And
the average golfer, just somebody shoots in the hundreds can win the league.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not that many golf leagues out there where that can happen.
No.
Well, guys, on that note, we're gonna say goodbye. Thank you for watching again today. We'll be back next week. I believe we have a guest host from Encore Golf next week. We have a tech guy as well too. Once again, Dave, thank you again. Chop Sports Media. This place is awesome. Dennis, one more thing before you go. What do you think of the studio?
Oh, it's awesome. I watched it a couple times, and it's not like actually being here. It's actually seeing all the lights and camera. It's pretty neat. They do a nice job here.
Definitely do it. You guys have been great for us so far. So again, Dave, thank you. We appreciate everything. TGC, we'll see you guys later on. Dennis, thanks for coming today too, buddy. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys later on.